Hello, guys, and welcome to Red Side Rants. I'm very happy to be back with you guys. International break is done, and we are now back to the Premier League as usual. I think everyone is quite excited. We've missed Premier League football, so here we go. We're here to talk about the big game this weekend, the Manchester Derby. And I'm going to start by saying I don't understand how we got so many big games at the start of the season. We've already played Arsenal. We have Manchester City coming up, Chelsea. I think like 2 games later, we have Liverpool. So I don't understand how we had so many games lined up at the beginning of the season. But it is what it is. We just have to get through those games. And depending on how we get through, when I say depending, I talk about the results. Depending on how we do, that would potentially affect the rest of our season. If we get through those games and we don't get beat by like hell, or we win some, we lose some, or we play well, if we do well in those games, we can go on to have a great season. But if we don't do well in those games, the media, when it comes to Manchester United, they're just going to use that to they're just going to use that to feast upon. Going into the transfer window, I said ESPN was probably so disappointed that we ended up leaving with a win, because that would have been their entire talking point for these 2 weeks. But we got the win, and unfortunately, the other side of Manchester left with the loss, and I think some of the attention was diverted towards them. But yeah, exciting game, and I think going into this game, we have a very, very big chance to win the game or to get a result. At the Etihad. It's not something that you would go into a game often and you would say, especially when it comes to this Manchester City side under Pep Guardiola. But I think going into this game this weekend, we have a very big chance, a very high possibility to get away with a result. This is due to a couple reasons. First, City is just dealing with so many injuries. I looked at their injury list and it's like, they have about 10 players out, Yes, they have so many players injured, not available for the game. That's the first point I'm going to say. Secondly, they have so many new players. So I think they are still trying to get used to playing together. And that's kind of affecting them. And lastly, they're on the run of form right now is not looking good. They lost their last 2 games. So the pressure is absolutely on them to win this game. And we can take advantage of that. When the pressure is on you, you can go in and win the game, but still you can go in with that pressure and you lose the game. And I think that's just what happened with Manchester United when it came to the Grimsby game. Went into that game with so much pressure. And that can either help you or we can kill you. So we have an opportunity to take advantage of all of this and hopefully get away with the result. I'm hoping that we do. And with the way we play right now, Manchester City is a team that likes to control the ball and let the opposition sit back, give them time to control the ball and take their time. But with the way we press right now, I don't know if they are going to be able to deal with that press. It is left for us to see what happens on Sunday. But I think with all of this, we have a very big chance. We have a good chance of getting away from the Etihad with the results. And so after this international break, we have the Champions League coming up, and I just want to talk about this, right? The fact that Manchester United is not in the Champions League, how does that affect us? We already know it affects us negatively when it comes to our finances. We already know that. But on the other side, on the flip side, does that help us when it comes to top 4? Because most of the other teams are going to be focused on Champions League and the league, while we only have to deal with the league. I know we've talked about this already, but now you have to look at teams like Manchester City. They're already dealing with injuries. Arsenal has some injuries here and there. Are they going to be able to manage the Champions League and the Premier League? We have 1 game a week. We have our players available. Most of them, for the most part, I know right now there's some concerns, fitness concerns when it comes to Cunha and Mason Mount as well. We're not sure if they're going to be part of the game. I don't think Cunha's injury is that bad. Someone who might just not be in the squad is Mason Mount because he's been dealing with those back-to-back injuries, so he needs to be protected. But the fact that we're not in Europe this season, does that help us? Because I think it does. It gives us more time on the training ground. It gives our players more time to rest. We have the lesser possibility of dealing with so many injuries. So I think that could be a positive for us. That could help us, especially when it comes to the top four. Other teams dealing with those games, and we only have to deal with the Prem. So I think that's a good part. But I'm absolutely looking forward to this game, and I'm going to talk about my first 11 for this game. So for my first 11, in goal, I think we're going to see Baini start. I know everybody has said Eric Ten Hag should just toast Center Lemens, but if there's one thing we've noticed with, sorry, not Eric Ten Hag, Ruben Amorim. Ruben Amorim should just throw Center Lemens on the pitch. But if there's one thing we've noticed with him is that he doesn't like to put players in right away. And I think it's the same thing that's going to happen because news already came out, Center Lemens has to win his position. He has to earn the position. So he's not number one. He's coming to put in competition and hopefully get the number one spot. So I don't think he goes in right away. And he wants to be protected. You don't want to throw in a guy with so much that has been revolving around the goalkeeping position. You don't want to put him in such a game, and let's say one thing goes wrong and everybody's on him, So you want to protect him. So I think we'll see Baindi in goal. The back three, they pick themselves. I don't think last season there was a time where we said the back three picks itself because every game we were changing players. But when you look at how they are playing this season, I don't think we have to make any, Ruben Amorim doesn't have to make any change. They pick themselves. So Euro would come in, Delete would come in, Shaw would come in as the back three. They are doing fantastic. They just have to work on dealing with set pieces, area duels and stuff. So if they can improve on that, I think we have a very fantastic back three for the season. You go in midfield, Bruno and Casemiro, that's another pair they pick themselves because we really don't have anybody else. Ugarte is not gonna come in ahead of Casemiro, Nobody wants to deal with that shit, He's gonna press out of possession, but he's gonna win the ball and he's gonna give it back. So yeah, I'd rather have Casemiro in there. Casemiro and Bruno, they pick themselves. When we go to the wing backs, I like Ahmad. I keep on saying this every game. I know people say play Ahmad in the 10, but I like when Ahmad plays as a wing back. He offers you something else that is very difficult to get from any other player. Like his attacking output is so much more. It's good, We already have 3 center backs and another wing back who is a defender. Why do we want to play with another defender on the other side? That's 5. So I would rather have Ahmad as a wing back. So I would have Ahmad at right wing back. And now the question is, does Dogu come in at left wing back? Last game, Dalot played and he had an assist. So the question now is, does Dogu come in into that position or does Dalot maintain the same position? I think I would love to see Dogu. So I would love to see Dogu, and I think I would put Dogu in because first off, I think he's the future. He's the future. He has to make that wing his. And I see some potential in him. So I would say Dogu come in. And in attack, Cunha, they said his injury was not that serious. But is he going to be risk for this game? I don't think so. I would have loved to have Cunha because I think Cunha and Mbeumo, they picked themselves. But now, in place of Cunha, would have to go with Zirkzee. So I'd say Zirkzee. He doesn't have the pace, but he's good on the ball. So Zirkzee and Mbeumo. And the next question becomes, who plays as the striker? And this is where I think Sesko comes in. I think if everyone was fit, that is Cunha and Mason Mount, I don't think Sesko starts this game. But Amorim is going to be forced to start Sesko this game because there's nobody else. And if he doesn't start Sesko, you know how the media is going to go. Obviously, I don't care about the media, but I think he's going to be forced to start Sesko this game. So that's my starting 11. Baindi, Euro, Delete, Shaw, Ahmad, Bruno, Casemiro, Dogu, Zirkzee, Mbeumo, Sesko. For my score prediction, I'm going to go with a 2-1 win. And this is a very big shout, at the end of the game, I might sit here and be like disappointed as usual. I think I'm getting used to this season already. Go into the game very, 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 very confident, and then you come out and you're so disappointed. But I just hope not this game. So I'm gonna go for a 2-1 win in favor of Manchester United, obviously. And let me know your thoughts in the comment section. If there's anything you would change, if there's anything you would add, let me know in the comment section. And if this is your first time on Red Side Rants, please remember to subscribe and stay with us.